So,
Well,
I'm very glad that both of us have good connections right now.
yeah, man. It's all good.
The Art of Hate.
Connection's good. Yeah, you like it?
Yes, of
I'm
course.
talking to
It's
Adrian
got
at the moment
a
about
barbarian on the
vampires.
cover.
Yeah.
Always down for
He's
that.
a very talented artist. Mm.
So, yeah, how are you, by the way? Just to.
Oh yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. It's got some warm weather at the moment, so we've been enjoying a bit of outside time today. We went on a bit of a day trip, and then I had a bit of a drive after it. So yeah, it's been a good day. How are you?
That's nice. I've been on a gig yesterday. It was I don't know, Paradise Lost and Asphyx and lots of thrash metal
Oh, nice.
bands. And I'm getting too old to stand around and watch more than 4 bands in a row. It's just like, oh, my feet hurt. I
Yeah,
just want to
you like.
sit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
I
I'm just
know. I know how
41,
you
so
feel. I'm the same.
and
I am the same, definitely.
I barely slept in the hotel room, so that was a bittersweet thing.
It's no good.
Yeah, I got a few questions prepared, so let's
Sure,
dive right into it. Um, yeah,
let's do it.
I hope I did my schoolwork. So, first question.
Me too.
I stumbled upon the song Hawk as a Weapon,
Oh yeah.
and my first thought was, okay, these guys obviously read The Dark Tower. Is that correct?
hmm
Yes.
I did read The Dark Tower actually. However, that particular the idea behind that song, Hawker's Weapon, I think somehow on the live album Napalm put out, they renamed it to Hawk as a Weapon, which isn't correct. But the actual song title is Hawk as Weapon, and that was written quite a while ago when we released Monos. So that came out in 10 years ago, actually, this year. So that particular song, the idea actually was about dying in the plane crash, and I just sort of blended that with the idea of being able to command a hawk to kill somebody, and kind of those two ideas kind of just got blended into one. I used to be quite an anxious flyer, and I remember writing the lyrics for that when I was actually flying on a family holiday of all things. So that's where that idea came from. But yeah, of course, I've read the Dark Tower stories. Um, but I would say the influence was more from sort of a combination of a fear of flying as well as thinking how cool it would be to be able to kill someone in that way. And I think in one of the Conan stories I was reading, one of the wizards commanded a sword called Skelos. It's actually, the book is called Conan, the Sword of Skelos. And I really like the idea of being able to sort of command something that wasn't connected to you and making it do your bidding, and sort of applying that idea to having a hawk do bad things to people, and that's where the idea came from. And funnily enough, it's proven one of our most popular songs. Everyone seems to like it. So very simple idea, very simple riff, but it's quite effective.
Yeah. By the way, the thought that just formed in my head, as you said, controlling something that is outside of your body or something you are not touching at the moment. There was a video game in the 80s where you played a ninja and you had a dog or a wolf that ran beside you, and I think that was pretty cool
Yeah.
too. Back in the day.
I think one of the coolest ninja. There was a couple of cool ninja games that I remember. You had Ninja Gaiden, of course. You had Shinobi, and you had my favorite was Tenchu Stealth Warrior, and
Yeah,
that was like a
Tenchi was
really
cool.
cool ninja game. Where Tenchu was awesome. That was probably my favorite ninja game.
Do you remember Strider?
I do remember Strider. Yes.
That was very cool too.
Yeah.
I had the problem with Ninja Gaiden was for me the same problem with like the Dark Souls games. It was just
Oh,
barely
yeah.
playable because it was hard as nails. It was just tough to play that.
Yeah, too difficult. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that I do
Shinobi
remember.
was cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
back
I
to
really Shinobi was like an arcade game. It was very accessible.
Shinobi was not my favorite game, but it was like the sprites were so big and everything looked pretty cool, and it was like, yeah, okay, I'm shitty at playing this, but it looks phenomenal. That was just cool. By the
Yeah,
way,
it's a good game.
back to Conan the band. Your vocals are pretty distinctive and kind of brutal. What is your approach to singing when it comes to your technique?
Well, honestly, I just try and shout in tune. That was always been my aim. I think my vocal sort of technique is it's improved. I think a lot lately on the last couple of albums, and particularly on this album, my vocals have been like really where I want them to be. But I've always just kind of like my vocals to be sort of a higher in higher range than the guitars and the bass. You know, I don't sing like growling, or I don't do anything guttural, anything like that, anything like low down, because I can't. So I'm naturally I can sing like sort of higher. So that's where I put it. That's where I put my vocal delivery. But yeah, generally speaking, I just like to shout, but in tune. But fortunately, my voice is a little bit sort of gravelly now when I do that, and it kind of I like how it sounds now. So I mean, really, up until the last 2, 3, 4 years, my vocal delivery wasn't really what I wanted it to be. But I persevered, and it's sounding okay now, I think.
Yes, the new single is a great one. Tell me about the new album. What was it like to record music during the vid?
Yeah, actually, it was okay. We didn't record the album properly until November last year, and you know things had cleared up a lot by then. So we didn't have too much trouble getting together to record the drums, and then obviously the guitar and bass and vocals to follow. But we wrote a lot of the album during lockdown, and a lot of that was written, you know, separately. So I would send ideas to Chris and Johnny, and then they would just come back and forth on through Dropbox online, and we got to a point where we really enjoyed like the sort of the distance worked in a way, because we were able to like write things slowly. You know, I'd send an idea off or a riff off, and it would, you know, the guys would digest it over a week or two, and then would come back to me with some ideas, and then we would bounce those ideas back and forth, and we create the music from them. So actually, it worked really well. Recording during lockdown would have been impossible because we don't live in the same country. Johnny is from Ireland, he lives in Dublin, so he just simply wasn't allowed over here for a lot of it. And we tried to find ways that we could make it happen, but all of those ways would have been illegal, so we didn't try it. In the end, we had to wait until November or so, and then things came together pretty quick after that.
That's great. Yeah, the new album Evidence of Immortality will be out on August 19th.
Yeah,
And
that's it. Yeah.
yeah, I'm giddy to listen to it in full.
Cool.
The first single is, if I remember right, Levitation Hoax.
Yeah, that's it.
That's a video with a all girl band.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought that was a brilliant video, and yes,
yeah.
I
Thank you.
noticed that your vocals did improve.
Yeah,
When I
thanks.
first listened to Conan the band, I was like, it was I was listening to many European power metal bands and rock music, and I was not at the point in my life where I started to listen to extreme metal. So my first experience was, whoa, that is brutal. I can't wrap my head around it, and it was like, this is agitating.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And in the years that passed, I really grew into to appreciating that kind of riffs you guys play. It's like they go on for fucking eternity.
Yeah. We like to repeat ourselves. It's easier to write songs that way. You can write less riffs. Just play one riff for longer. Makes the whole job a lot easier.
Yeah, but I don't think that anyone could write songs like that and get away with it. It's not. Yeah, okay, you stack riff on riff on riff, but not everyone can write songs like that really do work. So yeah.
No, thank you. I think a lot of it has got to do with having a good drummer who can play interestingly. Because I think a lot of guys who play like in our peer group, I'm sure some of them won't mind me saying that their playing style is quite simple and straightforward, and we are very lucky because Johnny doesn't play that way. He can, but he doesn't, and he plays like a more complex style, which I think keeps people interested, even if the guitar and bass is quite simple. And I think overall we have a good mixture of sort of like simplicity on guitars and vocals and bass, but then we have complexity on the drum pattern, which I think really helps the music. It lifts it a lot. I think we'd struggle if we had a normal drummer.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's hard to put the finger on the matter why this works. And if you say it's a drummer, okay, I have to listen to it again and to try to listen to it differently to grasp the concept, I think. But it's really just the thing that it works, and you're just stacking things on each other, and it's got this depth. That's really a cool thing about that music. Another question when it comes to lyrics and songs: does Golden Axe does anything to do with a video game?
Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah, Golden Axe is just simply, I wanted to write a song that could really work as a backing track for that game, and there are certain scenes in that game where kind of the atmosphere gets really heavy, I think, in that computer game. And like the end of level bosses where the music changes, I always thought like that'd be cool to make some music for those sections. And Golden Axe was written with that in mind. It is all about that game. It's as simple as that, nothing more to it. It's all about Golden Axe. It's one of my favourite games. One of the first games I played when the video stores started renting out Sega Master Systems, and you could rent it out overnight for like £3. And the first game I played was Golden Axe, and I couldn't put it down. It was my favourite by far.
If you like Golden Axe, do you know the Super Nintendo game Knights of the Round?
I don't. No, I was more into Commodore 64, PlayStation as well, but I'm more a PC gamer. I don't play a lot now, but it's all a PC games. On the Nintendo, for me, it was all the classic Super Mario stuff. Mario Kart.
I really think you would love that game because it's Golden Axe, like the exact same concept. Just you can choose your Knights of the Round, of course. And it's it's rather tough game too. So I never saw the end of those games. Never.
I'll check it. Knights of the Realm. I will check it out.
What kind of music do you listen to in private?
Lots of different music actually. I don't listen to metal all the time. Obviously, it forms a large proportion of what I do listen to. But I've been listening to Drain a lot lately. Back from California, I started listening to Creeping Death metal band. That was something I started listening to the last couple of weeks. But I also enjoy listening to synthwave or electronica, like Air, the French band Air. I think their music is really cool. I listen to Neil Young here and there. But yeah, I've quite a wide. I love Weezer. Big massive fan of Weezer. They're like my light-hearted rock band that I like to listen to a lot. And so yeah, quite not like a mad mix really, but quite wide-ranging, I suppose. I don't listen to a whole lot of doom metal, believe it or not. There aren't that many bands that I listen to, apart from maybe the obvious like Slamatics, High on Fire, bands that I love. I don't listen to a whole lot of outside of that range. I tend to, if I'm just going to relax and listen to music, it tends to be in different genres to what I play. It feels better to do it that way for me. I just got a new pair of earbuds and they're really good. So I'm like listening to all of my music now at a completely different perspective. I can hear it differently when I'm at the gym.
Hey, that's quite the variation, I would say. What is the main inspiration? You first.
Yeah. Sorry. That's good. If I listen to doom metal all the time, I think it'd be a bit boring. So I like to listen to a wide range of stuff. I love Slayer, for example. Sepultura, Nailbomb, yeah. Fudge Tunnel, Nirvana, love Nirvana. Yeah, so I like listening to some of my favourite songs are actually some of the lesser heard Nirvana tracks, like Endless Nameless or Moist Vagina or I Hate Myself and I Want to Die. Those like B-side ones, they were the curmudgeon. They were just some of my favourite Nirvana songs, full stop. And so I like to listen to Nirvana quite a bit too.
Sometimes I think that grunge has a lot of doom elements, and just that stoner and grunge and doom just perfectly blends into each other. Because it's all sad and sappy and dramatic and it's
a lot. When I started,
it's a mood.
When I started, you're right. Totally agree with you. When I before I started Conan, I was in other bands that were like more obviously influenced by grunge bands. We sounded a lot like sort of Foo Fighters or Ash or Nirvana. Light sort of punk rock or whatever. And then when I started getting more of an interest in like darker, heavier music, we started tuning down more and slowing down more. It did like start to sound a bit like as if you were playing Nirvana on the wrong speed on your vinyl, your record player. And we always kind of have that in the back of our minds when we're writing riffs now. It has to be catchy, but also really heavy. And just like it would be if Nirvana wrote songs at half the speed. That's what we try and do, and it's the fun challenge for us.
It works. I can tell you it works.
I like it. Thank you.
What is the main inspiration for your music and lyrics?
Well, generally it will be just I'll start off with a theme, sort of like picked up from a book, or I've seen like an image in a magazine or a line in a book that I've been reading, or something from everyday life can spark something. And that normally it'll be like a line or two that I think hits quite hard, and then I'll sort of come up with a riff that goes along with that. And then that can take a while. And then when I start to think of like sort of like vibes for a song, or like a bit of a structure that would work with that kind of lyric, or the way those syllables flow, I can write a riff around those, and then I can start to visualize the song more easily then. And eventually, I get to a point where like I've sort of mapped out the song in my head in terms of the like how many times am I going to sing that kind of riff over that kind of riff, and where does it go next? It's usually at that point me and the guys will be in the room together and we'll figure it all out together. But in terms of the lyrics on this new album, you know, a lot of the mood on the album sort of like it's definitely been influenced by what's happening over in Ukraine, because when I had some lyrics written, but not a lot of lyrics written, even right up until the night before we went to record vocals. And I remember I was sitting exactly where I am now, you know, on my PC, just trying to work out some of the structures for the lyrics, listening to the news about what was happening on the border between Russia and Ukraine. And I think that was like kind of making me anxious, and I was kind of angry about it and worried and hoping that things would be okay. But then thinking, you know what, if this happens, then maybe it's a good chance to kind of win this once and for all. And so that filled me full of hope. And all of these emotions sort of came out, especially after being under lockdown for so long. It's sort of like I was like, okay, well, this is not gonna allow this to stop us playing or whatever, or not gonna allow this to bother me. There's a cat. And
yeah.
it made me sort of like, yeah, my wife misses her cat. She's got a black cat in New Zealand. She could be going crazy now she saw it. But anyway, the lyrics on the album, if you reread them and just imagine like they were written like all at the same time as the war was just starting there. And I mean, I'm an English guy over in England. I'm very lucky. I don't have, you know, for me, it's an issue that's happening in another country. I can't even imagine how it must feel to be there and be having your life turned upside down. You know, aside from us having to pay a bit more for stuff and maybe some sort of sense of anxiety over it spreading further in Europe. You know, it hasn't touched us in any other way. Nevertheless, it really did have an influence on the lyrics, because the lyrics to me, you know, on some of the lyrics there, you can hear, you know, some anxiety, you can hear some anger, some frustration, but so some of the in some of the other lyrics, like a sense of triumph and determination to succeed. And you know, like levitation, hopes you mentioned before, I am the force for good. My eyes are fire and death, and my hands are fire and death. My eyes are burning brightness, you know, and I'm just like kind of singing there like I'm the hero in the story, and I'm gonna save the day kind of thing, a little bit like Bolt Thrower, that kind of vibe. And you know, other songs there have got lyrics where they're coming at things from a different angle. You know, there's one line in there, you know, here he comes, the death of man, dressed in a skin robe, and I'm like talking about like the, you know, impending doom that was facing all of mankind. You know, and all of these things they're not about the war that's happening over there, but they're definitely influenced by the mood and the emotions that it was all creating within me. And when I sat down to write the lyrics that night, that all those lyrics just flows out very, very quickly and much more easily than they had on any other album. And then next morning, I woke up, drove down to the studio to meet Chris, and we recorded all the vocals in, you know, more or less in one or two takes, maybe, the very next day. So I was delighted with how the lyrics came together. And yeah, on this particular album, they were definitely influenced by real life more than any other album, although we still write, you know, through the lens of the whole Conan thing. We don't want to write about the real world. We never will.
Yeah, I get the mood. I think it's the feeling of the First World War or possible World War in our lifetime. It's like, oh, this is not a good thing to happen in my lifetime. I don't want that. I don't need that in my life. I just want peace and quiet and heavy metal, and the rest can fuck itself.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
You got that book in the front of you. Tell me about that. That's the reason it's on your desk.
Yeah, I'm reading through it at the moment. I recently became friends with Adrian Smith, the man behind the art of 8, and he very kindly sent me this book, and it's just got it's just a collection of illustrations. So I reached out to him and said that I'm a really big fan of his work, and we got chatting, and now we're friends and we talk all the time. And he surprised me with a copy of the book.
That's nice.
So it's on my desk, but I've turned it around just because it looks better if it's facing the right way. But yeah, it's on my desk because I'm reading at the moment.
Adrian Smith, yeah. Read that, internet. Buy that.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, the new Conan album. That is a given.
August 19th.
I got one last question for you. That's a question I ask pretty much everyone I interview. What are your favorite bands to tour with, or what band would you really like to tour with once in your life or next?
If Fudge Tunnel was still going, it would be Fudge Tunnel, hands down. If we could tour with the bands that are currently active right now, discounting those bands that we've played with already, I would have to say probably Thra of Tucson, Arizona. They're like a death metal band from Tucson. It's super heavy, really cool. I'm like Call of Duty friends with Rob, one of the guys from the band, and he put us on in Tucson, Arizona, not so on one of our last US tours, and it was a great show. It was like insane, people covered in blood. It was just the right sort of show. It was like crazy. People got hurt temporarily. It was all good fun. They loved it. It was awesome. And I'd probably say them. We'll see if we can maybe link up with them. But I really like some grindcore bands as well. I've been listening to a band called Arch Agathis at the moment. And they're from Canada, and they got an album out called Canadian Horse. So I've been listening to that quite a lot. But I've always thought it would be good to tour with a band like that. So I guess leading on from that, you could say Napalm Death would be a cool band. They would be someone that we love to tour with as well. I also think that would be a good mix.
Yeah, that would be great.
And see if we got any dates that we can jump on.
Great cross promotion on that front, because I think
totally.
People that like Napalm Death might realize, okay, that's fucking cool. I will buy a T-shirt and the CD and maybe a vinyl, maybe patches, and the other way around. So that could be a big win-win situation for everyone involved.
Yeah, I think so. That's something I might write. I write to them today and see if I can raise the subject.
Yeah. Book that, internet.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool. I think Napalm Death would be a good band to tour with. It'd be a lively tour. I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be a great set. I'm very looking forward to you guys visiting Germany next time.
Ah, yes, we'll be there.
When?
Well, I knew you were going to ask that. Right now, we don't have a tour lined up, but obviously we got a tour. We've got a new album coming out in August, so we are trying to put some dates together.
Yeah, I would love to. I will bring my new trucker hat.
Ah, you got. Maybe in the summer we'll we'll be over there. But we do have some. We do have plans to come over. Of course, it's been a while. But what we found this year was that a lot of the places that we thought would be good to play at were already booked up. So it was hard to put any dates together because obviously there's 2 years worth of backlog. So there wasn't much space for us to play as well. So we're gonna work for next year maybe and see how we can do that.
It would be great to see you on Nord Open Air in Essen or like Rock Hard Open Air in Gelsenkirchen. That's always great crowd and very mixed, and that would be fucking awesome.
Yeah. Well, we're up for that. We'll see how we can do it. Hopefully.
Yeah, let's book that. If anyone is listening to the forces in power, do that.
Yeah. Tell them to email us.
I think my camera got a problem with focusing.
It's slightly blurry, Bob. It's like I'm taking my glasses off.
No, that's just how I look today, because I barely slept tonight, and I really do look like that. I'm pretty blurred today, so that is just fitting for the mood.
Yeah.
Jon, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day.
You're welcome. Thank you, Dennis.
Yeah, thanks very much, and I think I will sit in front of the TV in about 10 minutes. So have a nice evening, and I'm looking forward to. I have to look that up. My brain is a little bit kaputt, wie man sagte. Evidence of Immortality out on August 19th. People, you just need to buy that, and the merch, of course. They got nice merch.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a great evening. My daughter's calling me now.
Okay.
It's her bedtime.
Have a nice evening too, and you can attend the children now.
Yep. Nice to talk to you, Dennis, and have a great evening.
Yeah, I think so too.
Good night. Cheers.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Was ist mit meiner Kamera los, du da?